Welcome to the Mike Rich Show. Today's guest, I have JJ Harrison and his wife Bailey, which is a professional barrel clown specialty act performer. How old are you now?
47.
47, and you had a
47
hip
years old.
replacement at what age?
45.
So a lot of people say you're too young to get a joint replaced. You're too young to get a knee
Not
replaced.
some people. Everybody said.
So
Everybody said.
how did you
Yeah.
work through it? And with you, how did you push him to work through it?
I was just done. About 2018, rodeos were trying to book me, and a lot of rodeos, I've been very fortunate, want to do big multi-year deals. They don't want me to leave. I'm their guy. And I had a rodeo that wanted to book, I think, to 2019, and it was like 2016 or 17. It was right in there. And I made the comment, I don't know if I'm gonna keep going. Probably after 18, I might be done, or I'll have to look at it. And that immediately, from this rodeo chirping around, that immediately, JJ's retiring. Because, and then of course, there's a lot of blood in the water, and every rodeo clown is now like, oh, he's done. And, and I didn't really fight it because I was miserable. I loved physical comedy. I still do. It's the way that I do this job, and I want to be able to run from one arena into the arena to the other at a high rate of speed, because while I can stomp my feet, point at the crowd, and they're gonna go crazy. They're gonna feel that energy come off of me, and they're gonna, yeah! They don't know why they're yelling, but they're yelling because I'm running at them, right? Well, if I can't do that, that's an element of my comedy that if I lose is done. Well, I would have so much pain. And I was living on morphine. I would take 8 milligrams of hydromorphine before and after. This is news to her, but I would take it before and after the rodeo because I just couldn't keep going. And my hip was terrible, and it wasn't until Spanish Fork with Justin Sports Medicine that got me down there, and we looked at the hip.
But at the same time, then we use medication to kind of cover it for a little bit. And that's where I think you came in. Because when you came on the scene with him,
He
you
was
started.
beyond.
Yeah.
Like, medicine was not covering it. He was getting to work, couldn't even get out of the truck. And it's really hard to be energetic and give your life to everybody, which is his job, if you can't recharge your battery. And he couldn't give himself that recharge time because on his downtime, he was in so much pain that his quality of life was just becoming non-existent.
But it's a reason for us lucky guys with good women behind us. Like, I have a great wife. You had a great wife. You probably owe her your career right now, to be honest.
Without a doubt. The extension of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you were about done
in a lot of ways.
Spanish Fork. You really were.
Yeah, I was over it. I didn't care. I felt like I could still do the job, but I was doing it at such a high cost. And then you start thinking, man, I've got a son who's 14, and I just married into 3 great kids that are, now they're 16, 14, and 12, and I can't run around and play football in the yard with them. I can't do those things. I started thinking, there's a cost. And I'm a school teacher, and so I can always go back to that, and I can.
How did all of us in rodeo, I was a school teacher too.
Yeah.
And I know Flint was, and
like
a bunch of us were.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just in our DNA or something. We're just weird like that.
Well, we're people, right? To be a teacher,
true.
you have to be able to interact with people. But the reason we all start in that field and get out of it is very simple. It just doesn't pay enough.
It's financial.
You get health care and benefits and some time off, but realistically, you're living check to check. And it's hard to get ahead, and unless you have a spouse that works too, and then the two of you, dual incomes, you can do it. You're gonna get a boat, you'll end up paying your house off in 30 years, and those are great things. And it's a good profession.
So circling back around, what did you finally say to convince him to get your hip replaced? You were miserable.
Yeah.
But how many doctors did you go through before we got you to one that said, yes, let's do this?
Well, the first part of that question was, how did she get me to do that?
Yeah.
I will leave you.
Well, the thing about being that nice, supportive wife that you were talking about, it's more of a selfishness of, I also don't want to be your nurse at this stage of your life.
I'm not taking your diapers came out of her mouth as well.
Not going to wipe your butt.
Like, if we can fix this, why aren't we fixing this? And that was my mentality. And also, someone here had to have a baby. And I was pregnant at the time that his hip really started going out. So I was more of we need to get this fixed a lot sooner because I got a little kid
Yeah, I
coming
got a
in
little kid coming along.
to chase
with
around
Roxy's
and
in the studio. Hi, Rox.
yeah. And he, that was your idea.
Oh, without a doubt. I told her that, I think. It's so creepy. The first date we ever really had, I announced that I was going to marry her. And then
On the first date.
Oh, yeah. And
It was weird.
I had some practice ones, so I knew exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, you've been through.
Yeah. And those were fun. But I knew that I wanted to marry her, and an hour into hanging out with her. And then at the end of the very same day, I told her we're going to have a kid. And that's when she pulled a knife out and said, I'm going to kill you if you keep talking like this.
So on the hip, she pushed you and said, if you're going to keep doing this, you want to play football in the yard. So what doctors did you go to, or how many did you go to?
I went to Dr. Russell Cardoza first. And so the whole story worked like this. I walked into the clinic. He said, you know what, before we do an MRI, let's just take a snap x-ray real quick. It's simple, it's fast.
Yeah.
And they did the x-ray, and x-ray tech guy, you know how they put it up on the light, right? And he's not supposed to say anything, right? He just takes the pictures.
He's like, oh shit.
It's exactly what he did. He just laughed.
Yeah.
He just goes, oh. And I was like, what, man, what? And he's like, the doctor will be in, and I was like, dude, just tell me what's going on. He's like, this hip is trashed.
Yeah.
This thing's done. And the doc came in and said, we don't need an MRI. You need a new hip. And so that started the whole process. And I knew that Russell had just gotten one of his hips done. He's got both done now, but he just had one done. And so, he started talking to me a little bit about it, but he didn't get back to me right away. So immediately I got back, I went to Tri-Cities, because that's, then I started just looking up hip replacements. And I went to a cat in the Tri-Cities, and he does the posterior approach. And so I don't know anything about it. A lot of old people had this done. This guy's done it for 25 years. He's my guy. So I set an appointment to further that, and then Russell called me back. And he's like, dude, you got to get the anterior approach. You can't get out of that guy's
100% agree with you.
Yeah, get away from that guy. If he's not willing to do this anterior approach,
It's like run.
Yeah. But you were back in the arena in how many months? I mean, you were back quick.
Well, so here's the thing that I really lucked out and kept. I'm my own worst enemy sometimes, because like any cowboy, as soon as it's if I break my arm, as soon as I can do this and the arm doesn't fall off, I'm ready to go back. And so luckily, not that COVID is a good thing in any way, but that year, because I had the 19, I had the replacement, but heck, y'all took my staples out at the NFR.
Yeah,
Was
true.
it right around Thanksgiving?
I went 3 days
it
after. It was 3 days.
After surgery.
After my hip replacement, we drove to Vegas, and I hosted my party at the time at the MGM Grand, up on stage, bouncing around.
Yeah.
I had a cane,
Yeah.
but the cane was only so people wouldn't come up and bear hug me or tackle me or do the
It
crap.
lasted about a day.
A day.
Oh.
Yeah, you only had the cane for a day or two.
Yeah.
When I took your staples out, you didn't have a cane.
No.
Yeah.
No cane. Well, it wasn't even a cane. I bought it at Love's. It had the compass, and it was just a stick.
It's still kind of fun.
And guys still grab me, and so I thought, well, this is ridiculous.
Because you're an exuberant guy. You're one of the few specialty acts I still pay attention to, because you make me laugh. You really do. Doing 600 performances a year for 40 years.
Yeah.
There's very few I can say that about. But you make me smile. You make me laugh.
I appreciate it.
And you're impromptu, but you're exuberant.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I'm sure you got to be like, can you just tone it down here for a couple nights?
He's good at home. He's not. Except he wakes up kind of jolly like that, and the kids don't always appreciate it.
I sing Italian opera to the kids.
That's how
Oh my God.
he's
Wake
the
them up.
alarm clock.
Let's save my audience of that. Yeah.
Y'all want to taste? You want to taste?
But he'll make coffee and then start it. So he's smart.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with a total idiot here. So he'll feed me my caffeine and then scream Italian opera in our faces. But you're not like that at home. Like not all the time.
Not bad.
He's not got the clown turned on.
But he's made his ADD, which I've told you before,
Yeah,
A for you.
ADHD. Throw that H in
ADHD.
there.
Yeah, throw the H in there. So you've made it, you're so bubbly but he can turn it off when he goes home.
Well, at home he has different hobbies and a whole list of chores. I mean,
I'm a pilot.
He doesn't
You can't
sit.
be an ADD pilot. Like,
No,
yeah, you
you're
really
a pilot?
can't.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we have a couple airplanes. So that really, I love that activity so much because it does. And believe me, like I prop started a 180. And anybody that's a pilot, no, you don't prop start a tail drag an airplane. It whacked me in the elbow, broke my elbow. You know, I should be
and
dead.
then he went to Red Bluff and he's out there doing push-ups. I was like,
Yes, choke his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, my father-in-law owns a helicopter, and I want to get my helicopter license.
Yeah, that's
Like
cooler.
I've started down the road to my pilot's license, but now I want to do the helicopter.
Do it.
Because,
just do it.
I need to just pull the trigger and do it.
Yeah.
And you're giving me inspiration.
Well, you just take, all I did when I quit teaching school, I started rodeo, and you kind of acquire lumps of money faster. And so I just set aside that money and I said, I'm going to do this with this money. And then you just bang, bang, bang. Every dang day you're taking flight lessons. Every
Just
day
do it.
until it's
Just
done.
knock it out.
Yeah, I did it in 2.5 months.
Holy
Just
smokes.
start to finish, 2.5 months. Now, granted, you know, like you, I drove semis, tractors.
Yeah, we all do.
And I played
hand-eye coordination.
hours. I mean, so many hours of the flight simulator. If you want to be a pilot, do that. Like, get Microsoft Flight Simulator is the one I use, but there's so many similarities to actual flight.
True.
In fact, it's actually, in my own opinion, you know, the element of death isn't there, but it's harder to land an airplane in a flight simulator because you don't have the peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So locating the airport sometimes harder. You can turn your head in an airplane. You got one flat screen in front of you, you know.
True.
So-
Very true.
so
So you're going to get
lots
your
of stuff.
license?
I like the know-how.
I've talked it through quite a
If
bit of
if
times.
we ever got stuck up there, I want the
Yeah.
know-how at least. But
You mean
I
stuck. You mean if I die? Let's call it what it is.
or pass out,
If we get
or
We
I
hit a
mean,
snowbank and we can't get out up there in the air.
like you kind of need. He always is giving a lesson. He's a teacher at heart, so he's always teaching when you're in the plane, and everything he's doing is explaining it. And yes, I do feel like it'd be really fun to have my own license, but
Just so you
It's-
can kick him out the door.
Well-
You
When
get
you
sick
Yeah.
in 30 minutes.
I am
Oh, do you
I'm
get
a
nauseous?
motion.
My wife gets
I'm a motion sick monster.
Yeah.
But the smaller the airplane, and if it's windy, whew,
We have a little 120, we have a 180. So they're
I
both
like the
little tail
180.
draggers. She
Yeah.
likes the 180, which burns 16 gallons an hour. And
I got expensive taste.
I like the way,
Your
oh
wife-
yeah,
You need to hang
Boone's
out with my
Farm.
wife. Yeah.
Merlot.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about why we really weren't letting him retire yet. is
Okay.
I'm so expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? No. I've seen you around. I've seen you pushing a baby in a stroller, supporting him for
Oh,
years
so
now.
much bigger than that. She handles all of our endorsements, everything. Before we came in just moments ago, she was on our conference call with 811's group Ranch Safe, and they're one of our title sponsors. And
Yep.
you know, the thing that I've noticed is she's so close to it, and she's exceptional with social media. I mean, at this point now, don't tell anyone. We're not in a place. We're pretty private here. So if you send me a message on social media, I'm not
She's
the
going
one
to answer
responding.
it.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
yes.
very true.
And,
Or-
and it's
Much like-
better.
I
She's
have
just-
Instagram pages I never see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
It's
my
just-
wife and people do that.
Or I just ask him. I mean, I can send him a screenshot.
Yeah.
How would you respond to this? Or we're with each other
But
all the
after
time.
about the 5th time you ask him, you know how he's going to
I know.
respond. You just
Mhm.
quit asking.
That's exactly right.
But on that note, I want to bring it up because sponsors are important to all of our livelihoods.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, who are your key sponsors? I know 911.
Not,
Not 911, 411.
We
sorry.
should
Yeah.
actually-
See, 811.
The more he
Sorry.
talks about me
You gotta
murdering him out
call
of a
before
plane,
you
he
dig.
probably needs 911.
See, I'm medicine.
I should
I'm
have
911.
911. Yeah, I should have 911 on me because the 811 is a call before you dig. It's a
Yeah.
locate service. It's nationwide and it's awesome. They've been great to me. I've been great to them. It's been a great crossover thing, and it's a no-brainer because our demographic that comes to rodeos are the
We're
same
gonna
old
dig.
dudes that are like,
Yeah.
man, I own that 7 acres for 10 years. I know what's down there. And they hit the fiber optic line.
True.
And 400,000 in fines later, they hardly own their house anymore. So,
Yeah.
or even worse, they hit a gas line and blow themselves up. So,
Oh, that's bad.
there's safety and cost savings and things like that. But yeah,
And there's Roper, Stetson Tin Hall, who
Yeah.
have been amazing to our family. 'Cause
Yeah.
They not only support us anything we need, but anything our people need. It's more like a family. They're about community, and we've been very fortunate to have them behind us.
So those are your main two big
Those are our
sponsors.
two-
Yeah.
less
Well,
swab.
but
you have a
tires,
bunch.
huge.
Tires,
they
I mean,
keep us
yeah.
safe on the. I mean, we do nothing but really drive mostly. So having Les Schwab behind us is a big deal.
Because you're on the road, how many months a year now, guys?
So December 31st, I take November off. It's the only month I don't have any.
November
every single weekend from December 31st to November 1st, I've got a rodeo, and we can post the schedule.
What I have to do is pre-book him the year before, so that if something comes up, I can say, nope, we're already busy. Don't you dare take that job. Because he will.
He will. You're like me. We'll just agree to do it.
He does.
It's like, how did I do that? It's I'm here today. I'm running here tomorrow. I'm doing Scottsdale tonight, and I got to be in somewhere else. It's like,
you need
women, you guys got to tell us to say no. Right. I mean, I struggle with it. I know he does.
Yeah.
I book everything. When I was starting by myself, there was a time where it was just me and my son. I remember going to Estes Park and turn around and come back to the West Coast. That's a 17-hour out, 17 hours back for one event, one weekend. And you just, it's like I need to buy a globe or something.
$500 in diesel, but I made $800. But no, I only made $300. So didn't even pay for the groceries.
Right.
You could have stayed, and I'm more of that person. I'm like, is it really going to be worth this X amount of money at the end of the day? Or you could stay home and do snowmobiling or whatever it is.
Or take the airplane for a flight. Let's burn 16 gallons an hour and let's go do something.
We got toys that we need to play with sometimes.
That's what COVID did for us. We have jet skis and boats and
it was
Ranger
it had
and all
a
these toys.
silver lining to COVID for
it
our
definitely
family.
is. And a lot of us learned from that. Like we were shut down. All of us were shut down hard. It let me refocus my life. Like I spent more time at home and I started forging again and started working on old cars again. It's like stuff that I just didn't do for years.
It allowed him to heal properly. That was our biggest fear was he's going to jump right in and
he's going to wreck that replacement.
Hawaii's going to be my first rodeo.
And you announced
back and I announced it instead of clowned it. They were happy to have me announce.
Trust me and my staff were scared when you said you were coming back because I envisioned you in the arena. And when you were coming back that early, I was like, oh.
He was going to do exactly what you thought too. Like there's no doubt in my mind.
I was on my way to a college rodeo, Twin Falls, Idaho. When that whole, in March when everything all shut down, he's like, you're not going to believe this, but we have to cancel. I was like,
we're halfway here.
We're in Boise right now, whatever. So we just stopped and we'll pick up next weekend. And then of course we didn't, as everybody knows. And it did. I think, I don't have, the hardest part of hip replacement, and anybody that's hurting in your hip, the hardest part of it is the mental thing of getting over that's metal now. Because you're hurt, you hurt your elbow or something. I remember I played a lot of football and I had a dislocated shoulder and hurt my elbow real bad. And coming back, just that action, I was apprehensive because I thought it was going to hurt. But it didn't. But my mental block, I wouldn't get my arm all the way up to throw the ball to get a proper delivery. So getting past that mental block of thinking about it.
It definitely takes time. You got to retrust it because you don't have the same proprioception in there. You don't have the same arthrokinematics.
Exactly what I was thinking. Proprioception.
Proprioception, I was on the tip of your tongue.
I was right there, just about to say it.
No, but thank you very much. Like I'm trying to get more wives to come in on the show because you know what? You're where you're at with her behind you.
I probably wouldn't.
And same with me. Yeah. I mean, I'm where I'm at with my wife behind me. So.
But we need you guys to work.
Yeah.
There's only so much piloting he can do at home.
Just start a crop dusting company. There you go.
Right?
I'm already there.
We want to see him. I want to see him do what he loves to do as long as he can do it.
And you, honestly, you do really well. And while you're at the top of your game right now, and you've got your awards and everything, but I enjoy watching.
I come up short every year. But I cannot seem to get across that threshold. I do want one.
You're right there,
Yeah. NFR and a Clown of the Year. I want one more of those, and I want one more NFR and a Clown of the Year in my career. It'd be hard to rodeo this long.
Anything I can do to help you with that, let me know.
Well,
because you deserve it. You really do.
I appreciate that. But the problem is there's great guys out there, and
there's a lot of good guys.
I dang near share the name with one, so
true.
So I'll never forget Stephen Peoples, who I love, calling and tell me, "Hey, I voted for you. Your real name's John, right?" And I was like, "No,
that's the other one."
But John's fantastic. So it's like there's a
great guy.
There's a great group of us up there, and the right guys winning. But at some point, I hope that I can
Hopefully,
get one.
I'll be happy. I'll come give you a hug on stage when you do it.
Dude, you can dance behind me. That'll be great.
Well, thank you guys very much for being on the show.
You bet, man.
Appreciate you.
You bet.
Yeah.
And appreciate what you guys do.